I'm jumping right into cooking right here, and I'm making some meatballs. So I'm just using these plain breadcrumbs, and I'm also using onion powder and garlic powder and a little bit of Italian seasoning as well. And then instead of egg, I'm using egg white. It's just so much easier to go ahead and dump the egg white into the bowl. I had gotten this family size of ground beef, so I'm going to use up some of it for the meatballs, and then the rest of it I'm going to divide up and put in the freezer. So I'm probably using about a pound, maybe a pound and a half of hamburger. I'm not measuring anything. I mean, it's no big deal. It's just meatballs. But this is a really great recipe for any time that you need to have something done quick, super economical. I can put it in the crock pot, and then it's just all ready to go when we come home. So as you can see, I dumped some egg white in there. I'm giving a sprinkle to the Italian seasoning, and then I'm going to sprinkle in some onion powder and garlic powder, and finally the breadcrumbs. And honestly, if I put in too many breadcrumbs, I would just add more egg white. If I put in too much egg white, I would add more breadcrumbs. You know, you just want to be able to have the meatball hold itself together for you. We have an easy meal in our family that we call pasta bake. Usually I scramble the hamburger and add tomato sauce, whatever I happen to have in the house for spaghetti sauce. And so I'm using the Hunt's because it's super economical. And we put the pasta and mix it with the sauce that has the ground beef in it. Throw mozzarella cheese on top of it, toss it in the oven until the cheese is brown, and then bring it out. But sometimes you can get sick of things, so I decided, first of all, I needed to put it in the crock pot, and so I decided to make meatballs because that way it would make it a little bit more special, and I thought people would be more likely to eat it, and it worked like a charm. I had water boiling on the side before I started the meatballs, so it's all ready to drop the pasta. I'm using some pasta bows. I end up using about 2/3 of the box. I don't want to make a whole box because I know there's no way we're going to eat a whole box of pasta. This is for about 4 people, and my daughters are not big eaters. I know my husband's going to eat this, but he really shouldn't be eating pasta, so I am making a small amount, and then we could pair it with salad if people are extra hungry, but it turned out it was more than enough, and we even had a good full serving as leftovers. But funny story, I put the leftovers in a Rubbermaid container, and for some reason I put the container with Rubbermaid containers instead of putting it in the refrigerator. Like, literally, what was I thinking? But it is morning. You can see I'm in my pajamas, and I don't know if I can use that as an excuse or not. Probably not. So I sprayed some avocado oil in my frying pan, and I let it heat up, and then I'm just making my little meatballs, and I will let them brown, turn them over, let them brown, and cook them 99% of the way. I mean, it could be 100%, but it doesn't have to be 100% because it is going to be in my crock pot. However, I will have the crock pot on low until it gets nice and heated up, and then we can turn it back down to warm. But everything is going to be cooked. It's going to go in there hot. The only thing that's not going to be pre-cooked or hot will be the mozzarella cheese. And I don't do this, but afterwards I was thinking, you know what would have been really great is if I'd have put some ricotta in there too. Once both sides were browned, I did add a little bit of water, and then I'm going to cover the meatballs and just let them cook through. I'm always a little bit nervous that I'm going to be burning something when I use the top of the stove. I could have turned them lower. I had them on about medium heat. I realized too late that I was out of crock pot liner, so I am spraying it with avocado oil, hoping that will help it not to stick, which it did. And then I am pouring a good amount of the sauce, almost half a can, on the bottom. And this is Hunt's spaghetti sauce. It's the least expensive in our grocery store. Next, I drained the cooked pasta and I put that in as well. And I did want to make sure that the pasta wasn't overcooked. It's a little bit al dente. With the pasta down, I'm going to pour the rest of the sauce in the crock pot over top. I'm smoothing the sauce out all nice and pretty with a spoon. And then I'm going to be putting the meatballs across the top. Let's face it, you can never have enough meatballs in anything that involves meatballs. But if I put it across the top, then we serve it kind of like you would serve lasagna. So everybody gets kind of a serving of the meatballs, enough for whatever section they take. That way all the meatballs aren't gone if you have leftovers, if you're smart enough not to put them in a cabinet instead of in the refrigerator. And then I am just completely covering it with the mozzarella cheese. Then I thought, you know what would be really good is if we did a layer of grated cheese, so I decided to do that. And if I were to do ricotta, I would put it on top of the pasta before the second time that I put the sauce. Also, when I was cleaning up the kitchen, I noticed this that my daughter Crecia made, and those are Leo's little paw prints. So there he is with his little paw prints. Isn't that cute? And I wish he would have been supervising me because I completely forgot to show you the after version of my recipe, but the cheese was all melty. It was a huge hit, and having it in the crock pot all day made the sauce taste even better. So it's later in the day and I am getting my dishwasher emptied. Usually I empty it before I get dressed and ready for the day, but today I decided to go ahead and get myself together and get dressed and then empty the dishwasher. I have a lot to do because I'm actually physically going into a grocery store because I want to be able to pick my produce for Thanksgiving. There's just sometimes it's better to go in, and Yvonne said that she would go with me, so I know I don't need to go alone, which is also very nice. I know I'm kind of doing Thanksgiving here, but I'm kind of focused on the fact that this is holiday preparation, and I'm wondering, what is your favorite Christmas carol? Mine is Angels We Have Heard on High, and I found this by Jordan Sparks.
We have heard on high, sweetly singing o'er the plains, and the mountains in reply, echoing their joyous strain. Gloria in excelsis Deo.
I braved the grocery store, and so I thought I would show you what I got 2 days before Thanksgiving. The roasting pan options were slim, so I was able to get this one that barely fits in my oven. It's so big. I got 2 14-pound turkeys, and that's because that was the smallest ones I could find. So one's for Thanksgiving, one's for Christmas. And then these, I can't believe blade steaks, they are $8.49 a pound. So these are marked down. So I got all the ones that are marked down, and we're gonna have a steak and cabbage tonight. And then this is my daughter's dairy-free vegan butter, 2 dozen eggs just because, but now for Thanksgiving we do the coconut milk for dairy-free, the regular for regulars, the 0 sugar for me, and then some dairy-free cookies. These are really, really good if you haven't tried them. This is just for snacking. It is a rice pudding. This is also dairy-free dessert. We'll do pies, but I'm going to buy them, so I'm going to buy them tomorrow. And then Yvonne doesn't like pie, so she doesn't eat it either, so she's going to have this gelato. It's actually sorbetto. And then I got some sour cream in case we make Christmas cookies, as well as butter for baking, sugar in the raw. We're going to do some gluten-free, dairy-free brownies. So we also have the 1-to-1 baking flour. And then I've already busted one out, but my blueberry cobbler, string cheese that is a snack of mine, and then dairy-free chocolate chips for the brownies as well as snacking. 2 European cucumbers, because when we go to a store, we always come out with cucumbers. Turnip for Thanksgiving. I got 2 of them because they're small, hopefully easier to cut up. Dunkin' decaf K-Cups. Red bell peppers for the steak and cabbage. Cabbage for the steak and cabbage. Sweet potatoes for sweet potato casserole for Thanksgiving. Squash for Thanksgiving. Avocado spray oil, which is our favorite. This is for Yvonne's hair when she goes to work. This is my absolute favorite stuffing on Thanksgiving. Rice for the steak and cabbage. These Jetty Puff Minis also for the sweet potato casserole. White potatoes, actually they're the gold ones, for mashed potatoes on Thanksgiving. Milk, Swiss Miss Instant Cocoa. And then this is my creamer. This is the only one they had, was the ginormous one. And then I got some chicken broth to help me with gravy. And the girls love to have a little bit of soda, the younger 3 anyway. So once I put this away, then I'm going to figure out all the things they didn't have, like the little pearl onions I love to buy, and anything else I might have forgotten. Make a list so I can go back out and get the odds and ends when I get the pies tomorrow. It's tomorrow, and I went to a different grocery store, got strawberry rhubarb pie, pumpkin pie. I got this vegetable platter with ranch dressing on the middle, and then I also got some fruit. I got some disposable pans, saltines just for snacking, and for that white cheddar, and also some water crackers for something a little more special. So this is the cheddar that everyone likes to have with the crackers. I needed some black beans and some green beans for me, and then the almonds are for me, Jif peanut butter for the girls, powdered sugar in case we need to make frosting for our gingerbread houses, and then Yvonne loves those crackers and cheese, vanilla wafers again, the girls snacking, showing you the saltines again. I got some avocados, which is a staple, animal crackers for snacking. We were really bereft on snacking and everyone was desperate. Red onions as usual, some plantain chips for snacking. None of these are mine. Pearl onions, we love the boiled onions. Some salad, some ham to go in the salad, it's shaved. And then I got these dinner plates. They're disposable, but they're heavy duty. And Woozy is not helping me at all putting away any of the groceries. And Leo is retired from supervising, I think. This is his new favorite place now that the heat is on. Woozy is in the corner pocket so he can get both heat, and Leo's up above the heat. Now we're on to Thanksgiving Day. This is a little behind the scenes where my husband's like, hey, if we're going to film, we need to get this island cleaned up. Of course, I'm doing some things, and I don't want to clean it up, but it was just so funny. I just had to include it. It's like, no, it's fine. We don't have anything to hide. These are my friends. And he's like, but you always want things clean for your friends.
So we also have to cut all the sweet potatoes, right?
Yep. Yeah, those we really need to cook because we put them in the oven afterwards. Whereas squash, once you cook it, it's cooked. What am I doing? Well, I am decorating the living room to be like the Elf movie. So I'm very busy. I had gotten some copy paper in the morning. I found a store that was open, and I'm going to make some paper snowflakes and some white paper chains, and I'm going to decorate the living room so that when we have our Elf movie tonight, it'll be all decorated in the theme of the movie. It's actually really nice out that way.
Yeah, I know. I can tell.
Hey, good job preheating the oven.
Did I?
Nope.
Oh. I was going to say, I don't remember doing that.
You're really good at finding things, though. Just trying to keep it positive.
And you did.
I know, you like this. You enjoy this. Well, so does he. Yeah, I know. Okay.
Yeah.
I meant you as employed.
We usually have our Thanksgiving at about 1 o'clock p.m. and then we have the pies, and I did the fruit and the veggies and the crackers and cheese. We do that at supper time and watch Elf.
All right.
What I love is how I'm like doing all these little things and no one even wants to know what I'm doing. No one's curious because they know I'm just
You
nuts.
look like you're making a chain.
I am. Do you know why?
I would assume to represent chain smokers. I don't know.
Movie reference. It's a movie reference.
Oh, right, movie reference.
Can we guess? Is
Well,
it
we're
Charlie Brown? No.
trying to do Elf.
Elf! Remember he decorates the whole store with white snowflakes and paper chains and...
I don't remember the paper chains, but
Look.
I understand what you mean.
Oh, congratulations, world's best cup of coffee.
Oh, that's very cute.
Look, wait.
Oh,
Maple syrup, product of the North Pole. Wait, one more. Grocery list.
that's very cute. When did we even start?
I was actually watching the channel The Wads, and she does the best birthday parties for her kids. And I was thinking, oh man, my kids are older. There's no more doing the themes, and you look up on Pinterest. But I thought, it'd be really fun just to kick it up a notch is to ask everybody, what is your favorite Christmas movie? And to schedule out when we're going to have family movie nights and to do food and decorations that go with the movie, just to kind of kick it up a notch and make it fun. So this was the tester, and everybody really loved it. Anytime you do anything that's the least bit special, I think it's really noticed and everyone really loves it. And I was thinking when next time I go to visit my grandchildren, I would love to do that at their house too, is to just pick a movie, because they always do movie nights and they're so fun, and they have like a picnic on the living room floor while they're watching their movie. And I thought that'd be neat if I could kind of plan ahead some themed foods and some decorations for their house as well, and to make it kind of a special thing that I do.
Maybe when I grow up, I'll be a door-to-door knife sharpener.
I sure would not. You can be the town metalsmith.
I'll never forget it, that Nicaraguan. That guy's gonna sharpen our knives for us. I was like, what? He's gonna what?
That was so much fun. I thought, this is like the greatest country ever. This dude comes to the door.
Sharpens your knife and stabs you with it.
He'll clean.
That's what I was thinking.
He'll clean your...
We lived about 6 months in Nicaragua when we were adopting our 4 younger children. And there's so much about living cross-culturally that you just would never, ever guess until you get there. And one was the guy coming to sharpen our knives. And honestly, what made me a little more suspicious is he wasn't from Nicaragua. I think he was from Canada. And it's not that I'm suspicious of Canadians. It just was like, why is this guy at my door? I don't even understand. And then one time when my husband was at the market, someone shows up. And so we had this big gate. And so I can peek through and see who it is. He's knocking on the gate, and it's a guy holding a machete. And I'm home alone with 6 kids. And I call my husband. I'm like, you get home right now. And he was there to cut our lawn. Well, oh my goodness. I just never thought about cutting the lawn with a machete. But sure enough, he did. And he did a great job. But he did have to wait for my husband to come home before we let him in the gate because I was afraid. So here I am putting up my elf decorations. Anyway, I digress. Woozy. Nothing says the stool's not yours like this. Leo's like, I want to whack him, but I don't want to die. I'll whack his butt. Thank you, Leo, for getting him out of there so I can move the stool. It's nice that the cats want to be a part of things, but they're not always good at figuring out what part to be a part of. And, you can see that snowflake. Yep. So Leo's like, okay, that snowflake is for me to play with. And I thought that thing's coming down. And I was going to move it, but I thought, I'll let him have some fun. And he really was nice to it.
I'm not typically that tuned in.
Right, it usually has to be something like completely taking over.
Elden Ring was like the huge thing last year.
Down the bottom.
Elven Ring was a big one?
Elden Ring.
Elden.
It's by the same developers. That's mine.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. It's by the same developers. They've done like Dark Souls, Bloodborne. Did they do Skyrim? No, that's Elden Scrolls. It's hard because their games are popular, but with gamers. They're not games that are typically...
Sometimes I just like to give you guys a taste of the background conversation that's happening in our home. And my daughter was helping me make snowflakes. All the really cool looking ones were from her. She's just very artsy, and I was very sad that the chicken broth was in front of her hands, because when she does get making snowflakes, I can't even let you see what she's doing. So that's a rookie mistake on my part. I'd love to know, what is your holiday traditions and what do you do to celebrate? Do you tend to be with people, or are you alone? Do you have you and your husband? I do think about what would I do if I was alone for Christmas, like alone. And I hope I would make it a self-care day. and just a sweet, relaxing day, watching my favorite movies, treating myself to my favorite foods, and making it, I don't know, hot bath and spa day or something like that. Think about that if you're not in that situation, and maybe give some ideas in the comment section below, because I do always have viewers that tell me they're alone and maybe they don't even celebrate the holiday, and I would love for them to have some ideas of nice ways to treat themselves, maybe on Christmas or Thanksgiving if you celebrate Thanksgiving, for if you're alone. And you know, when it comes to my kids, none of my sons, 3 sons, were coming home on this Thanksgiving. And I just have decided that my priority is to get to be with my children. It doesn't matter to me if it's on the holiday or not, just as long as I get to see them regularly. I don't want to make it an issue. Once they get married, you know, it's always harder. There's different families with different traditions. And right now it kind of works out that we do have a Christmas schedule where everybody tries to get home every other Christmas and on the same Christmas. But with 7 kids, there's no way that every family, if they all get married, is going to be available, you know, that they can come on the same Christmas, because they'll be trying to balance it with their families. And whether we celebrate Christmas on a completely different day or whether or not we just, I don't know, do the best we can and then see everybody else on a different time of the year, I'm going to really try my hardest to never let it be an issue, not in my mind and not with my, certainly not with my children, because I just want them to enjoy time together. I don't want them to feel obligated. I don't want them to be pulled between families. I think as they have children, I'll definitely have some of my kids that are going to decide they don't want to travel on Christmas. Or maybe I'm traveling Christmas, but I won't be able to see all of them. You know, I just think I have to hold on to that loosely, because I want Christmas to be a special time. And I want them to be able to set their own boundaries, and I really want to respect those boundaries. And I really want to just make sure I'm getting to see my children and my grandchildren and not getting hung up on it being any one day. So I do try to think about, what would I do? What would it be like if they were not here with me? So this Thanksgiving, you know, there were moments where everybody was like, oh, I miss my brothers. And of course, that's just so normal. But at the same time, I tried very hard to plan activities and to plan ways to make that day special, so that we were having our own fun too and not pining away for the people that couldn't be there. So that was part of the decorating the living room for the movie. And I put on a nice spread at night as well. We also do Barbie gingerbread houses, where it was just the girls' home. I knew my husband wouldn't be that interested to do a gingerbread house anyway, and we usually do gingerbread houses, not usually on Thanksgiving, but I pushed it up to Thanksgiving this year so that we could do the gingerbread houses. And you know, I thought I clipped out all of the clips where Leo gets himself up on the island, but I guess I missed one. So avert your eyes if that's really gross. Of course, he sat on my paper that I was trying to use, because it is, after all, a shape. So he's sitting on the paper, so I can't use it. That's awfully nice, and I try to pull it out from under him. He just has to be part of everything. So I will show you pictures or a little video of the Barbie houses at the end. It was super fun to do a Barbie gingerbread house. It comes in a kit. I got them on Amazon. They were $20 a piece. Honestly, well worth the $20. We did make some extra frosting, but it also was cool because usually I get the package of gingerbread houses where there's like 4 houses in one box, and we do it that way because it's so much more economical. But then we have to share a lot of the tools that you use to lay down the icing. The other thing we do with gingerbread houses is, Rachel's a purist. She always uses the frosting to put her gingerbread house together. The rest of us, you know, we all know we're not going to eat it. And so we use a glue gun and put the house together that way. That way we know it's not going to collapse. So it was so funny. What I was going to say and I forgot was that, you know, here I was with 4 children at home. So that to some people would be plenty. But to us, because I have 7 children and 2 daughter-in-laws, 1 daughter-in-law coming, and 3 grandchildren, it seemed so quiet and empty. But we did actually have a really nice Thanksgiving, and I'm just so thankful. And I'm also thankful I got some of it on video. I have to say, nobody, I have a couple of kids that don't love to have their picture taken, definitely don't want to be on video. So I tried to give you a peek of what we were doing and still honor their boundaries as well. So there's my husband. What I do is I put my turkey in the oven on 425 and let the skin brown. I just sprayed it with a little avocado oil. Since I have someone dairy free, I'm not going to cover it with butter. And I cook it and let it brown, and then I add chicken broth. Isn't it funny that you don't find turkey broth in the store? I add chicken broth and I turn it from 425 down to 350 Fahrenheit, cover it with tin foil, put it in, and then I try to baste it every half hour or hour so that I can get some good gravy out of it. Being in Maine, we really don't eat that fancy traditionally, and my family is no exception. So yesterday, Robin actually cooked our turnip. I love turnip with butter, vinegar, and salt. Oh my goodness. And here he is cutting up the sweet potato. So I got this recipe from, people more from the South, I would say, sweet potato casserole. And usually I would do butter and sugar, and then you cover it with marshmallows. So what I do is I boil the sweet potato, and then I mash it up. So Robin's just putting those in the 9x13 so we can see how many to cut. That's kind of how we measure. So we do heaping because when it's cooked and mashed, it's not going to take up as much space. So then you mix in some butter and some sugar, and then you cover it on top with marshmallows, and you let the marshmallows brown in the broiler, which you will see in a little bit. So he's getting that ready. Something else I forgot to mention, another tradition that we have on Thanksgiving is we don't really watch football, but we do watch the dog show. That's a pretty big deal. So after the parade, of course, we watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. After that, the dog show comes on. And I forgot, and I thought the dog show was over at 1, but it was actually over at 2. So I planned dinner for 1 o'clock. I should have planned it for 2 o'clock. So what we had to do was we got up, and when it was almost over, we went out to see who the grand champion was. I was rooting for the Shih Tzu. I always root for the Shih Tzu because the Shih Tzu is my favorite breed of dog. I had one. It was my favorite dog ever. So I do root for him or her, and they never win. Although for the toy group, the Shih Tzu did win. So I was happy about that. At least we got that title this year. But we love to root for the dogs and pick out what our favorite breed would be. Now Robin is going to cut up the pearl onions. We boil the pearl onions. We boil the squash. We boil the potatoes. And then, also with there's my finished living room. That's what it looked like, all decorated. So also with the sweet potato casserole, I often have used vegan butter, but this year I decided just go ahead and put sugar in it and do the marshmallows, and then anybody who wanted butter could just add it to theirs, and nobody noticed it was gone and nobody minded. I don't eat it. I don't even like sweet potatoes, and I'm certainly not going to eat all of that sugar. So I'm getting things finished up in the living room. Robin is getting things going out here, and he's getting the sweet potatoes on to be boiled and then cutting the pearl onions. I do start helping with the pearl onions and the potatoes. I didn't make him do the whole meal himself, but boy, he was a champ this year. And so now I'm getting my sideboard cleaned off because I did decide I was going to use the sideboard for what it's actually designed for and put the food on there, which worked out beautifully because usually it's on the island and I have to keep getting up to get the cats off the island. So I put this stuff, I start initially thinking I'll have decorations in the corner, and then I soon realize I'm not even going to have room for that, and I end up taking that decoration off as well. But this worked out so great because there's an outlet behind there, so I was able to put down a hot plate, and I was able to put down my crock pot as well to keep things hot that needed to really be hot. And then I kept the Lazy Susan from Thanksgiving in the middle, and we put like butter, salt and pepper, and the gravy there. That worked out great. This was a little decoration that Yvonne picked out, I think at Dollar General. So cute. It was a little turkey, and then I had a gobble gobble word that I put on the other window just to kind of keep it festive. When I got over to this window, I realized that when we took the air conditioner out of this window, I never did dust it. So I'm getting all the little cobwebs and everything out before I put up my gobble gobble. So it was pretty dirty, and I do need to kind of, we have the pop-out windows. I do need to give them all a quick clean. So this is what it looked like when I was done. It's a gorgeous day outside. This is our turkey. And of course, Leo had to be a part of it and had to watch everything I was doing. So there he is at his post. It's later in the day and the turkey is done, so Robin is getting that all carved up. What he does is he puts the legs and the wings in like a separate bowl. Nobody really does want to gnaw on them. When the kids were young, they really liked to. That's my daughter, Ava. I had asked for Christmas lists, so she's showing me her Christmas list because, you know, Black Friday and Cyber Monday is coming. So as Robin gets the turkey done, I am going to put the marshmallows on the sweet potato casserole and get that in the broiler. So I had bought 2 bags and really only needed 1. And so whenever somebody makes leftovers, they can use the second bag of marshmallows if they want to. So in under the broiler it goes. And then I almost forgot. I watch it like a hawk. I put the oven light on so I could keep track of it. And then I'm like, oh no! I turned my head for 1 minute. But luckily they like it a little bit brown, so it did work out fine. Done. I'm thickening the gravy. So what I do is Robin is cutting up the turkey and I just keep using the soup spoon to scoop out broth and add it to my frying pan. I don't want too much at once because it gets really hard to thicken, and I was almost out of cornstarch. I was kicking myself that I never checked the cornstarch to make sure we had enough. And then I was straining it in the sink, and a lot of the gravy went down the sink, so that was a problem too. And I was afraid I wasn't going to have enough cornstarch to thicken what we needed, but it all worked out as it always does. There's always, I don't know, there's something about Thanksgiving that you can have little mistakes here and there, and it's really not a hard meal to make, especially the way I do it. You're basically just cooking things. You're not even, you know, I'm not even doing a lot of fancy recipes. Oh, and Yvonne had something she wanted to show you because she's turning 18 and this was her 18th. Okay, there she is. She's going to explain it to you here. Here she is. Unless you drink it more.
So ignore this. Why is it so blurry?
Is it?
There we go.
Yeah, what?
On my side it's blurry. Oh, that shows that way too much. Okay, we gotta go upstairs and cover that up. Okay, I got this here, and then this here.
So our rule is we allow for ear piercings. You know how parents always have to sign if they're under 18. We will sign for ear piercings, but my husband and I do not sign for piercings on the face. So she had to wait till she turned 18 to get those nose piercings. And her actual birthday is the Saturday after Thanksgiving on the 25th, but she's working. So she said, could I just go a few days early? Well, I thought, okay, I will sign for it because it's just a few days early. And we went to a really good place. They even took her into like a separate room, which was good because I told them, like, I cannot watch your face get impaled. I just can't do it. So I was glad they took her in a little separate room, and so I didn't have to see it. I just get all woozy. I don't even like watching an ear piercing. I don't like kids wiggling their teeth in front of me. So it was clear I was not going to go into a medical field. Robin's getting the rest of this bird cut up. We had a good amount of leftovers, but not too many. I mean, a 14-pound bird. We had 6 people. So it's definitely more than we needed, but we do love some leftovers. I'll probably make a soup, and I might even do a turkey pie, just like the chicken pie you saw in my last video. If you missed that, you can go back and watch that. It'd be the one that posted just before this one. The other thing we did that turned out to be a good idea was Yvonne wanted to get these acorns for the wall, and what you do is you put what you're thankful for. That tended to work out way better. There's our table, and there's those acorns, so everyone wrote down what they are thankful for, and that was really nice to be able to put that on the wall. It's a little blurry. Leonardo is Leo. His full name is Leonardo, just so you know. And it just was nice, and it worked out better than asking the kids at the table, honestly. So here is our feast: the turnip, the squash, and then there is the turkey and the sweet potato casserole. And then what is in this one? The pearl onions, which I love to put gravy on, stuffing, of course, and then we put the mashed potatoes in the crock pot so that they would stay warm, and it just was the best day. Then here are the Barbie gingerbread houses. Yvonne decided not to make one, but the rest of us did, and we had just a blast. That one is mine right there. And then the one beside mine is Rachel's. The one beside Rachel's is Crisia's, and then Ava decided to do one that was a little bit of a haunted mansion. So she had fun with that. We had the best time. This is the spread that we had for the Elf movie. So that's our Thanksgiving. I hope you had a great day as well. And remember, as always, that God loves you and I love you too. And I can't wait to see you next time.
Oh.